Here's how one cleaning business added over 150K to their annual recurring revenue in under 2 months. I'm Paul Meldrum. I scaled VSN Collective from 0 to over 500K in revenue in under 3 months, built Australia's first 7-figure semi-private gym, became a 2-time Australian personal trainer of the year, worked as an international consultant in the fitness industry, and in the last 6 months alone, have helped generate over $2.5 million in extra revenue for my clients. You know what's funny? When people hear that a cleaning business added over 150K in revenue in about 2 months with Facebook ads, they usually assume that it came from some form of insane ad strategy. Like, we found some magic creative, some magic hook, or some perfect targeting trick. But that's not actually what happened. In fact, the interesting part of this is that the ad account was already working for this particular client. So we already had a campaign that had been producing for months. So one campaign, one main ad, and from that campaign alone, we'd actually generated over 392 leads. This wasn't a case of a business with no demand. It wasn't a case of us trying to figure out whether Facebook ads could work. We already had the proof. The problem was that by the end of January, the campaign started to slow down. And if you run ads long enough, you've seen this happen. Something works, it works well, and it works long enough that people basically assume it's going to keep working forever. Slowly, it doesn't. Lead volume starts to dip, the ad starts to fatigue, and the market stops responding the same way it used to. And this is where most people make the wrong move. They panic. They say that Facebook ads don't work anymore. They say lead quality's dropped. They say the market's gotten cold. But most of the time, that's not actually the issue. Most of the time, the market is just telling you that it's bored. And that's exactly what happened here. So how did we solve it? What did we do? Now, we didn't overcomplicate it. We changed the form, we refreshed the campaign, and we basically loaded in 8 new creatives. That's it. Fresh angles, fresh content, a fresh way of saying essentially the same thing that was already working. Okay? And almost straight away, the lead flow picked right back up. You think that's the story, right? Campaign slows down, refresh the creative, leads come back in, everyone's happy. But that's not the entire story, it's only the start. Because the reason is, this business added over 150K in annual revenue in 2 months. It was not just because leads came in, it's because they got better at what happened after the lead came in. And that's what most businesses miss, and that's why I really want to emphasize today. Most people obsess over lead generation. Very few businesses obsess over lead handling, but this is really where the money is. So let's break it down for you what actually changed. Number 1, the first thing was speed to lead. Every lead got an automated message immediately. We kind of already did this, but we really doubled down on it because speed matters. If someone puts a hand up and you wait too long, you're basically losing momentum. You lose attention, you lose intent. Okay? And what happens there is you lose customers. But we didn't just rely on automation. That's important to have, all right? And this is something that's really important in the AI area, but automation on its own can feel really fast, but it can also feel really impersonal and really cold. So the automation handles the speed, and the manual follow-up is what handles the relationship. And when you're building a service business, there's not really much more important than the relationship, okay? So now instead of leads sitting there waiting, they were getting a touch point straight away. It was a lot faster. It was something that we focus on a ton more. And that one change alone matters more than what most people realize. Because a lot of businesses don't have a lead problem. They have a response time problem. And the second thing we changed was follow-up intensity. Before, the follow-up was okay, but it wasn't really aggressive enough. So we hit it hard. We got really, really aggressive with it. So instead of lighter contact, we increased it to about 3 times a day for a period of time. We worked harder to get the walkthrough booked faster. We worked harder to get the quote done faster. And we worked harder to get people to move into the actual next step faster. Because a lead can go cold really quickly. People click on something and then over time they have that ability to kind of forget about why they were clicking on that, what problem they were solving, okay? And in my experience, what I've seen is businesses love pretending leads were crap, when in reality, they just didn't follow up with the leads well enough. They let it sit there for a while and the lead went cold. It's like a steak. You need to eat it pretty quickly because after about 30 minutes, it's cold, rubbery, and trash. And this happens all the time. So a lead comes in, they send one text, maybe one call, maybe a second attempt, but nothing happens. And the business says the lead was rubbish. No, it means your process sucked, okay? So we fixed that process. Then we looked at the next piece, which is customer value. Because if you're going to pay to acquire customers, you probably should get better at increasing what each customer is worth. So instead of treating each person like a once-off, we started looking for more. Do they have another property? Do they own a business? Do they have another location? Do they know someone else who needs cleaning? Is there another opportunity to service there? And it wasn't some scripted upsell. It was basically just a better conversation. So asking more questions, being more aware, actually listening. And for a lot of businesses, a lot of opportunity sits there, okay? Not in fancy sales tactics, but just paying long enough attention to that client to see what's there. And finally, we looked at pricing, okay? Because here's the truth with cleaning businesses. A lot of them operate on razor thin margins. And when your margins are thin, growth gets dangerous because you compress margins over time because you have to spend more money to deliver the service, you've got to spend more for ads, you've got more fuel costs, you've got so much stuff going on. The margin shrinks as the business grows, particularly if you're not priced right. So you can get more leads, you can get more jobs, you can get busier, but you're still not making any extra money. So we increase price margin, okay? It was enough to improve the gross profit in each clean. It wasn't totally over the top. And what happened there is it basically made things easier for this business to continue to scale because each of our customers who came in paid for the next couple of customers. So what we did is we started recommending deep cleans upfront where it made sense. This is really good because it changed the cash flow immediately for the business. So instead of a new customer starting with a lower value entry point, we look for opportunities to basically make more money off the first thing, an upfront upsell. So we got upfront revenue, it increased the average job value, and it improved how quickly ad spend could be recovered. And that's such a huge point because so many people look at the Facebook ads, and I have it all the time, and only ask one question: how much did the lead cost? That's the wrong question. A better question is this: how fast does the first job pay back customer acquisition? Because if the first clean, especially a deep clean, recovers your ad spend quickly, the whole business becomes easier to scale because your cash flow improves, your reinvestment into the business is easier, every lead has more economic value. So when you put that all together, you win. So did the 8 new creatives help? Yep, absolutely. They got lead flow moving again. That was great. We got back on track. The real revenue lift though came from stacking improvements on top of that lead flow. So improving the process, faster response, better follow-up, quicker walkthroughs, quicker quotes, more awareness around upsells, higher price margins, and a better front-end offer. That's what created a result. It wasn't a magic ad, it was a better machine all the way around. And that's what I want every service business owner to take away from this episode. Ads create opportunity, that's it. Okay, so they create attention, they create inquiries, they create a chance to make money, but they're not a guarantee. The business still has to do a part. We need to have the team responding, we need to have the process converting, we need to have a good pricing model for the business. The offer has to be valuable and strong, and the follow-up has to be just as strong. Because all you're doing, if you are paying for ads without these things in place, is you're exposing the gaps in your business faster. And that's what a lot of people don't really want to confront, okay? They want better marketing to solve an operational problem, and it really doesn't. It just actually, it makes it worse. So with this business, yes, they added over 150K in 2 months. And yes, Facebook ads helped, awesome. But the ads were not the full story. The full story is this: campaign fatigued, we refreshed the campaign. Lead flow came back, but we got better at addressing the opportunity and monetizing it for that business. That's how the revenue for this business grew so rapidly. It wasn't a trick, it was a better system that we implemented every single day. And honestly, the operator did an amazing job there, which absolutely cannot give them enough credit for. And realistically, that's what growth is. It's not magic, it's not hacks, it's not hidden tactics, it's not some targeting thing. It's just doing the obvious things better, faster, and more consistently than what most people are willing to do.